I think he took us from about $1 million in revenue up to about 4.5 or something, around there.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you can.
So, Rhys Rogers, founder of Before You Buy, formerly Before You Bid. Had a name change a couple of months ago. Started the business nearly 10 years ago. Next year, our 10th year, with Rocket Lab being a key part of that journey. And we predominantly around the home property due diligence space and compliance. We now service kind of over 10% of listings across the country from a pretty, well, obviously zero when we started, but slowly but surely getting to a sizable business in that due diligence space. That's
also. Could you share a little bit of your experience working with Rocket Lab and how that was?
Definitely, yeah. I think to kind of get an impression of how it was working with Rocket Lab, got to take it back a step further. So when we started the business, 2015, you kind of speak to as many people as you can on how to start it, what to spend on tech. Do you have it in-house? Do you have it externally? We had a budget of $60,000 to start the business. So hiring someone full-time to do tech probably wasn't in our budget. Even hiring onshore in Australia was difficult because we didn't want to raise money early. I'm not saying that's the right way, but that was just the way we approached it. So we did go with an overseas agency, and if they ever watch any of this, I'm not sure if you're going to make this public, but definitely, very positive about them as well. They were just the right time for us and right price point for us. Then it was probably 2018. I had a conversation with someone. It wasn't you guys. I had a conversation just with a friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine in the industry. But I just remember this line very vividly when the business was starting to get a little bit of traction, and he said to me, "Look, the code is your asset. So if you're not getting that checked every year, and you do eventually, want to sell the business, not that we're in a rush to, but someday we may, and you've got kind of code that isn't easily transferable to a potential buyer, you may not be able to sell the business at all." So we had someone look at it. They did say, look, the code was quite old code that they were working off, spaghetti code. I believe the word might have been used. And then we started looking. Okay, we want to get an agency onshore who we can deal with in real time, during our own hours. And so I did a bit of shopping around and stumbled across the Rocket Lab, which I'm representing today.
Yeah,
still representing all these years later. It's close to my heart. So yeah, kind of met you and Jen, the team, and
so like let's if we can go back a little bit into when we at the beginning of our engagement, like what do you think were our strengths? What was for you, I guess, the big key drivers in working with us, and what did you like about working with us? What was sort of the, and I know it's been, it's been like, I think when we started the process was 2018, so 6 years ago. But what do you remember from this?
I can still remember enough. Look, it was a nice, refreshing kind of, you and Jen, obviously just lovely people to work with and just good people generally. So that, not that my previous people weren't, but the fact that we could catch up face to face, I could sit down there, give you the vision of where we want to take the company. There was no kind of lost in translation. There was no kind of come back to me tomorrow. We could really just sit down there, get it, when we needed to. I remember early days, we'd just get on that whiteboard, draw up all our plans, and be interesting if we had this AI note taker, what that would have done for us. But
yeah,
it was that early stage, which is very professional. We really did kind of nut it all out exactly what we needed to do from start to finish, because we did rebuild the whole platform, which I was hoping we didn't have to do.
What result, working together, what result did it achieve for you in the business? What was like some of the key results of working with us?
Well, we re-platformed the whole platform, so on a completely new code, a code which we've had. Now we get our website tested regularly and our code reviewed, and it's always passing with flying colours. Like we get the odd issue with a pen test and we patch it up, but that's a huge result, testament to how you rebuild the whole thing. Our CTO always compliments how you guys built the architecture for it all. So I think that's the number one thing that is clear. The BYB Assist, so for those listening or that see this, that was a text messaging solution for people after they leave an open home. That's gone from, I think when you finished it up and handed it over, we had something like 75 officers using it. That's this morning I looked at it, was 530 officers around the country. We send about 50,000 text messages a week off that service, which you built. So that's another really cool thing that you guys did for us. I mean, they're two of the ones that stand out. You took us from 2018 to now. I think we would have been doing something like, when you finished up, let's say, I think you took us from about $1 million in revenue up to about 4.5 or something, around there. The year that you guys stopped. So, I mean, all those things don't just happen by luck. You need a good platform, you need good tech to be able to handle it. And it didn't, you obviously have the odd bit tech bumps and issues here and there, but for the most part, it was just flying. Like we didn't have nearly the dropouts that we had, previously.
Yeah.
Sometimes hours where you're like, whoa, what's going on with our platform has disappeared. So that rarely, if ever, happened. I can't really recall. Maybe my memory's been kind, but I don't remember it falling apart during the period where you were there. So, mate, the list goes on, but that's 3 or 4 pretty big things that you did for us. So.
In the 4 years that we've worked together, what was the, I guess, like when you look at the backyard and the BYB Assist, what do you think is the biggest? What's the most, the part of the website that we've built that you're the most proud of, or what's sort of the thing that really stick with you and say like, yeah, like that was, that was amazing? Is there like something that really comes to mind?
I love BYB Assist because it hasn't actually changed that much since you built it. We've had to kind of stabilize it a few times as it's jumped up in growth, but that's been pretty standard. But I really like that product. But I mean, if you had to really pin it, it's the platform. It's our website. It's beforeyoubuy.com.au. People go there. It's now much cleaner. You can order it. You can see the different inspectors there. You can go through a much cleaner checkout flow. And, in that period from 2018 to 2022, well, even today, like 2018, we're probably doing something around, 20,000, I think, downloads of reports per year. A bit less, I think, maybe. Sorry, no, yeah, there or thereabouts. Now we're doing 150,000 downloads a year on that same platform. So, and it's, there's obviously a tech team here tweaking it, but it's certainly the foundations and architecture you guys built. So the fact that we're still just growing on that platform that you got Rocket Lab built for us, I mean, that's something that both of us should be proud of.
When you were prospecting, to find that next software development agency or company, so first of all, were there other? Did you talk to a few people? And if so, like, what was your decision factor? What made you decide to go with us rather than someone else?
I should have looked this up before I got on this call. You might know better than me. I'm trying to think, how did I find you? I think it was Don Woolrich, was it? From Lawler.
I think he was. Yeah, it was a friend of yours. I'm not sure, or someone in your network.
It was definitely someone in your network. Anyway, it might have been this guy. But either way, I definitely interviewed a few. So I always make sure I don't know why it's the magic. 3's the magic number.
Due diligence, yeah.
Yeah. So I did speak to a few, and you guys, I just very much like the vibe of you and Jen. It felt like, I don't know whether it's a French accent. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just a sucker for it. But no, you just seem like genuine people. I felt like, you know, as a CEO, founder, co-founder, it's a stressful time, and you know you're not always going to be at your best, and so you kind of want someone who you can chat to and they'll understand that. And you guys were both founders as well. I could tell, you know, at the time, there's great things about being founders, but there's tough things about being founders. So I felt like we could relate on that front, and we did. It was just easy. It was an easy working relationship.
How likely are you to recommend us to other companies?
I have already, so that's hopefully that answers it.
So very, very likely then. Yeah, look,